Hey everyone, welcome back to Citywide Bytes. I'm your host, Max Bowen. Now, picture this a beautiful island community separated from all the craziness of the world that we're living in. What could possibly go wrong? I think you know what's going to go wrong. In just a little bit, I'll be talking with author Mia Dalia for her new book, Beautiful Once, which just came out through Crystal Lake Publishing. We're going to talk all about the creation process of the book, the different perspectives of the characters, and of course, the sick, sick cover art. Enjoy. All right, Mia. Well, first off, I want to say thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you on the show because I have been reading Beautiful Once this week, and what a great book. This is a great start here.
Thank you. And thank you for starting the interview that way. My ego is already ballooning and I'm happy to go.
Uh-oh, there is just gonna be like no dealing with you after this, right?
No, my head will take up the entire screen and I'll be that.
Fantastic. I love this. All right. So let us talk about openings because this book, like the prologue, I think over the course of about 3 pages, goes from kind of chill to holy shit, this is happening. When it comes to openings, what do you feel works best for your books as a way of starting things off?
Well, I'm trying to get to the point where there is no such thing as my books because I want to keep surprising the readers. And with usually, I would say my books are slow burners. And they start off fairly slow and they ease you in. And then once you're comfortable, they pull the rug right from under you. And I love doing that to people. I'm never going to be in a room with people with rugs in it because just of that. But with this novel, I really was determined to do something different. It's my leanest, meanest novel in every sense of the word. It's smaller, it's more wham bam. And I wanted to go in and immediately kind of set up the atmosphere. Because after the prologue, you kind of get back to what my typical writing is, and there's a lot of character building and atmosphere and using place as a character. But you already going through these motions, knowing that, as you said, holy shit is going
Yeah,
to, yeah.
I love that because, like, since the prologue, it has reverted back to a very chill opening. Things are starting to kind of fall into place. So, just knowing that something great's going to happen is really good because, like, everything getting from the description of the book to whatever it's so far, I am just anticipating all hell breaking loose. But let's take a pause here and talk to a bit about what this book is all about. So, this is a you had this controversial tech billionaire has started a private island for a controlled experiment, a hand-selected population, sustainable systems, and a model for humanity's future. What could possibly go wrong? Um, well, apparently a lot, because this billionaire decides to shout to the universe, "Hey guys, look at me and look at what I've done." The universe responds, and that's where things are going to take a turn south. So, I'm curious, Mia, how did the idea for this come about?
I wish I had like a proper catalyst that I could describe and I could be like, one day I woke up and I was so fed up with the billionaire culture and I just wanted to make a commentary on it. But I seldom get anything quite so clear. With some of my work, yes, I took a trip or I saw something that just stuck in my brain like a splinter. But with this one, I kind of wanted to first and foremost do my take on a famous trope because I like subverting tropes and I'm quite partial to zombies and all manner of the shambling undead.
Oh
And
yeah.
I just got tired of kind of seeing the same take on it over and over again in books and movies, and I just wanted to revisit it. And with that in mind, the novel just started coming together. I I'm not gonna say it wasn't affected, but by the news and what I see out in the world. But I'm also not gonna say that this is a deliberate and specific sort of takedown on that or condemnation of this or that. I'm just very interested in culture. I'm very interested in pop culture and what it's doing and how it's affecting us. And we are at such an interesting point as a society, and such a horrific point, I would say, that it lends itself so well to the kind of stories I like to write. But also, like, who doesn't want to be on a beautiful island? I
Exactly, right? It
wanted,
sounds fine.
yeah, I wanted to go to this wonderful, beautiful place and see what horrible things I could do to it.
That is a great tagline. That is a wonderful summation of the book. I want to go. I want to find this beautiful place and see what horrible things I could do to it. So let's talk about the horrible things. Again, no spoilers. This book has just come out. You guys want to go out and check it out. But in terms of the message that we get sent out to the universe, what is that message, and what does the universe say in response?
Well, I think one of the morals there, far be it from me to write moralistic fables, but if I were to say, to talk about morals, I would say one of the morals is, of course, hubris and pride and all of that, because Ronan Bard is not a typical villain. I didn't write him as a typical villain. And I love that now that the reviews are coming in, people are saying, but I kind of like this guy. I kind of agreed with what he was saying to a point, and then what the hell? And to me, that's just wonderful, because characters should have dimensionality. Without it, they're just not interesting. The good ones, the bad ones, they should have layers. And if it's written well, they should make you cry. So basically, I try to write my characters like onions: peel, peel, cry.
Yeah, yeah,
And I just, in a way, I guess, as a writer, I think it is relatable. I think Ronan's plight is relatable, because all we do as writers is we write books, and then we walk around saying, hey, look, I wrote this great book. You got to check it out. This is awesome. And part of Ronan's plight is that that's exactly what he's doing. He thinks he's created a better way of living, a superior society. And there is an inherent folly with that line of thinking each and every time. And when he starts sending his message out there, he gets a response that I think should be proportionate to what he's putting out, because, you know, he can't be right as a one person. And
yeah.
he is reminded of it. He is reminded that there is something out there in the world that may hear his message and not take it quite as he had hoped it would be taken.
Oh, I love. Yeah. Well, it's like I said, hubris, pride. Certainly, like the ultra rich have no shortage of that kind of stuff. So I do kind of like this. You talked earlier about those subverting tropes. How do you do that in this book? How would you say you're like what tropes are you subverting, and how do you go about doing that?
Well, for one thing, it's not a typical horror novel. I've crammed science fiction, thriller
Ooh.
elements in there. I write across genres, and usually in a novel form, I stick with one, but with this one, I just went kitchen sink on it. And the zombie thing, people seldom do very original things, and sometimes they do, and it's brilliant. But most of the time, you get shambling, brain dead creatures driven by a single appetite. And instead, you just focus on the people, like the Walking Dead universe. It's just
Hmm.
about the people mostly, because the zombies themselves don't do much anything interesting. And I thought, well, what if I could do both? I want to focus on the people, but I also want to focus on what is happening to them, because it's fascinating to me. It's not just black and white. I wanted to drag it as much into the gray area as possible, so that the consciousness is still there and it still bleeds through, and you are aware of what you're becoming. Because I think, to me, that is the most horrifying thing.
Yeah.
You start becoming something you're afraid of and not being able to reverse it. the fight between what you want to be and what you're inevitably going to end up being.
Yeah.
The eternal struggle. So I kind of played with that.
I like that. I like the notion of like, okay, you become a zombie, but you're still aware. Your brain is still functional. You're aware of what you're doing. You can see what's happening around you. That's a great idea. I really like that. Um,
Thank you.
and yeah, like when what you said before about like The Walking Dead, I think that set a really like high bar for the zombie genre because it focused so much on the people, you know. So but yeah, I definitely agree with like everything you're saying here. And I cannot wait to read the rest of this. But you met now before you held up the book a second ago. We got to see the absolutely scary as hell cover. How did the cover come to be? Because that is one of my favorite book covers. Yes, right there. Oh my god, that is perfect.
I love this cover so much. So what happened is Crystal Lake assigned me a cover artist, but I do covers myself, and I've done some covers for my work. I'm not a fine artist. I do digital work, photo manipulation, etc. So I did have the cover for this ready. When I
Hmm.
write books, I mock up covers for them, and sometimes they're good enough that they can go on a book, and sometimes I get professional artists to refine them. And in this instance, the artist had very kindly taken my instruction perfectly and refined exactly what I had. I had this cover, but I couldn't get the face quite right. I couldn't get the font quite right. I knew the composition. I had the island, the light, because that is a crucial point of the novel. The tagline, which was every nightmare starts as a dream, every nightmare was beautiful once. This was before, of course, you told me that I should have gone with the other tagline. Too late now.
Sorry, sorry.
So yeah, so that's how it came out. It came about very quickly because the mock-up was already there and it just needed
Hmm.
very little refining and color scheme. And
Yeah.
I'm very happy with it. I think it's got a sweet retro vibe too. So
Hmm. Like this is the kind of cover that I would print out and put on my wall as a poster. It's just so good. And when it comes to covers, do you find yourself going back and forth before you say, "Nope, this is it, we're done"?
oh yeah, it's very seldom that I just land on the cover. I do
Yeah.
get very clear visuals, but being because I can't draw, like properly draw
Hmm.
besides stick figures, it's very hard to get them to materialize. For example, for my debut novel, Estate Sale, I knew exactly what the cover looked like, but I couldn't draw it. So I got my wife to mock it up because she can draw better. And then we got a professional artist to actually make a drawing of it.
Mm.
And or for Haven, my second novel, I had a very crude mock-up because that was when I was just first starting out making graphic design myself. And but they got its ideas, the split house and
Hmm.
everything else. They just refined it. So it's just it is something I do for all my work, though, whether it ends up
Yeah.
in the cover or not, because I want that dimensionality. I also play music, so often my books end up getting a song of their own, which, unlike the covers, nobody gets to hear because that's just private.
Oh, cool, cool. That would be cool to put out like a soundtrack of like the cover art music. It's like this is what I was listening to when I made the cover. That do you think there's actually like one song in particular that kind of goes with this cover that kind of sums it up?
Um, this one, I'm not quite sure yet. Some of my novels do have a song. This
Oh,
one, I don't think it's got one yet. There is one that I wrote for it, but there is not one that like is out in popular culture.
oh,
So
cool.
it's still waiting.
I like this. All right. Let's talk about the people on this island because this is not an island of like the ultra rich. This is an island of people. Who are these people? How are they chosen? And how are they sort of getting along in this very different way of living?
Well, the novel focuses on three perspectives, and you have like your everyday man in Jacob, who is the island's mechanic, and he just thinks he won a ticket to paradise. You have Martha, who is Ronan's right hand person, and she's been with him from the start. She's a true acolyte, a true believer. And then you have Amber, who is a visiting reporter who comes in to interview Ronan about his beautiful paradise. And she is, I guess, the reader's perspective, because she brings us in there and we get to see it the way she sees it for the first time. I thought
Mm.
all these perspectives were necessary, because Ronan himself does not get a perspective. He is kind of the focal point of the island and the creator of it. But we get to see him from perspectives of different people, which I thought was far more interesting to
Oh,
unpeel
okay.
him that way. And the rest of the people, yeah, this is not a billionaire paradise in terms of population.
Hmm.
This is, these people were chosen for their usefulness and for their qualities. There is sort of a test to pass to be on an island. Ronan has very strong ideas about what kind of people would make the best society. That is probably something directly from the news, because a lot of people these days have very strong ideas about what kind of people would make for the best society.
Hmm.
And it's difficult to imagine how any of these ideas can be right, because what creates a perfect community is
Yeah.
diversity. And ignoring that can be rather dangerous. Although, again, this is not a preachy novel, and that is not in a novel, that is just the author spitballing.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think with those three perspectives and those characters, I've focused very well on developing them. And I think you get to really see the island in all its beauty and then in all its ugliness.
And I imagine the ugliness is going to be very, very intense once things really start going like downhill.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, once you start hungering for things you shouldn't be hungering for, and there's no way out, it's, yeah, I mean, the island is perfect while everything goes well. That's
Hmm.
the thing. Every society, every paradise is perfect and where everything goes well. The second something goes wrong, you realize, oh, maybe this is not a paradise. Maybe this is just a small island where we are really, really trapped.
Hmm.
Um,
And
so that kind of happens a lot. I don't really write gore and guts. I never
hmm.
have, and I do slip like bits and pieces of it for fans, because I know what horror fans like, and I try
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do
We like the gore, we like the blood.
yeah. So with this one, there is probably as much of it as one can humanly expect from a Mia Dalia novel. So I'm quite proud of it. I thought it was rather disturbing.
Love it. I can't wait. This is going to be a lot of fun. All right. Now, this book was just released a couple days ago through Crystal Lake Publishing, whom we featured a number of other authors, a great company. How'd you come to work with them, and how's it gone so far?
Um, well, how I came to work with him, I I was a reader of their books for a long time, way
Hmm.
before I started writing. I only started writing like less than 5 years ago, so I was reading them for years. So I was definitely aware of them, having read numerous titles. So when my first novel came out, I actually approached Joe, and it didn't work out then. But of course, the thought kept in my head, because once I put a goal in my mind, I kind of just want to work with this person, and it's just going to happen. It's just going to take time. So what happened first? It started with shorter fiction. I um, I started submitting to their monthly contest for flash fiction, and my stories would place in top three sometimes. So that was nice. So I kept my name there. And then I was a part of an anthology called Dastardly Damsels, which is a wonderful book to promote, I think, for Women's Month of Horror.
Hmm.
It featured one of my very early stories called The Final Girl, which is, again, my take on the trope of the final girl. And that was the final story in an anthology. And it took, I think, almost 2 years to find a home, but then the home was found with Crystal Lake. So I placed the story there. And then one of my flashes ended up in their inaugural anthology, Hotel Macabre, I think. So at this point, I guess Crystal Lake just got okay. Fine. No,
Let's give her a book deal already.
I approached Joe about something else actually last year, and that didn't play out. But then I had a flash, like eureka moment. I'm like, "Hey, Joe, wait! I have this novel that I think would be perfect for Crystal Lake." And he's like, "Sure." And I sent them beautiful ones. They accepted it 2 days later. They said it was one of the fastest acceptances they've ever done.
Wow.
So that was again, very good for my ego, of course. Very nice
Sure.
to hear.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've been wonderful to work with. I've worked with so many small presses now. I publish a lot of novellas and roughly a gazillion of short stories. And it runs the gamut. I will say it runs the gamut on a professionalism level. But
Mhm.
Joe has built something really special with Crystal Lake. And I mean, in terms of professionalism, you really cannot ask more from a smaller press.
Hmm.
So on point, the communication is wonderful,
Hmm.
and yeah, the promotions are great. I keep seeing my face every time I log into YouTube or Instagram, which is so unsettling because I'm a rather private person. And yeah, I'm very happy to be working with them.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier, I believe, that you've only been running for about 5 years. Um,
Yeah,
that's astonishing because if you look on the website and the catalog of books, there's a lot to choose from.
I'm very prolific. It's actually been like, well, it'll be 5 years in the summer, so it's kind of like 4.5 years.
Whoa, okay. So not even 5 years, you got all these books out. What would you say kind of keeps you going, especially to produce it at such like a quick pace?
I'm I think the main thing is that I came to it rather late. I came to writing rather late. I was a
Hmm.
reader and reviewer for so long, and not until like 5 years ago in the summer did it occur to me that I could write my own. And I probably wouldn't have even done it if my wife didn't insist. She's like, "No, write it down, write it down." So I started. But at this point, part of it feels like I'm just catching up for
Hmm.
all the lost time that I should have been writing. And the other thing is, I generally write very fast. I talk to a lot of authors, and I don't really meet a lot of people who write at my speed. I write
Mm.
a novel in roughly a month. I do short stories a day. Like I will do a short story in a day left to my own devices, and I can do it on any theme. Like if I look through a list of open calls in the morning and I find one I like that pays well, by the end of the day, I will have a story for it. And yeah, I mean, everybody has to have some weird gifts, right? Like, it's just, this is mine. I have very few practical gifts, like, very, very few. All of them are super weird. And this is one of mine. I write fast.
I think that is a great gift to have, actually. Really good. All right. So, Mia, we're coming down to the end of this conversation, but the big question to wrap things up is what is next for you?
Oh, well, how much time do you have? 2026 is shaping up to be quite busy.
Hmm.
I have a novelette coming out in an anthology titled Obsidian that comes out end of April, and that is hard sci-fi, something that my brain does not naturally lend itself to. So that took some doing, and I'm delighted to have it come out. I have a non full-length novella coming out in a collection from Lethe Press on May 1st, and that is themed around witches. So I'm very excited for that one. I'm working with Earthling Publications twice this year, which is a huge honor because they've worked with just about all of my favorite authors. So this year I'm doing a novella with them titled A Song for the End of the World, which has sirens and Bermuda Triangle. All these years you were wondering what the hell's going on in Bermuda Triangle. This is it. This is a definitive version. And yeah, it's coming out in a few months, I think. And I'm also doing a Halloween novel with them that comes out on Halloween. They have a series, it's been going for like 2 decades. everybody who's anybody was in this series, and it's amazing to be joining that lineup. Um, I have a project I'm not quite at liberty to discuss yet with Black Sharks Books. That's, I think, is landing at the end of the summer. And I have roughly, yeah, no, I lost count, but I have a bunch of short stories, like a bunch of them. They will be coming out 1 to 2 every month, at least, I think, as far as I can tell right now. And I'm already starting to book out 2027 just because 2026 only had so much room in it.
Yeah, yeah. Only so much time you can do that. I think that that is a wonderful problem to have. To say, I'm actually my year's pretty much slammed. Next year we'll look to do some more stuff. So certainly looking forward to seeing everything else that comes your way, Mia. But
Thank
this
you.
is it. We're gonna be wrapping things up. I want to say thank you so
Yep.
much, Mia, for joining us. It's been a great pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your time on the island.
I probably will. I'm sure I will. And for the folks at home, we've told you everything. Now here's what you do. You go to you go to dahliaverse.wixsite.com. Everything is there. Get yourself a copy of Beautiful Once, and certainly leave reviews. Let us know what you thought. Favorite scene, favorite character. Did you like the beginning, the end? We love to hear this kind of stuff. And also, of course, to the people at home watching the show, listening to the show, thank you once again for checking out Citywide Bytes. I'm your host, Max Bone, and I'll see you all next time.